Your person talked about you today with their brother, and you won't believe what he said. You will never understand how deeply you've changed his soul without even trying. How every memory of you still feels like a prayer being answered. You will never leave his spirit, not even if this life tears you apart. Let me tell you what I saw from above. As your angel, I hear conversations that the world overlooks. I hear what the heart says even when the lips remain still. And today, I heard something sacred, something that heaven paused to listen to. He was sitting beside his brother, not planning to talk about you. But your name lives in the quiet parts of his chest. It rises like a breath, like a whisper he can't stop. His brother asked how he was doing, and instead of giving the usual answer, he looked down for a while. Then he smiled. A small smile, not loud. A smile full of ache and love. Then he said, I still think about her. More than I should. His brother looked at him, waiting. And he went on. He said you changed everything. That before you, he didn't even know his soul was asleep. That your love woke up something inside him that nothing else ever touched. He said being with you felt like finding home in a world that never made sense. He tried to describe it, but the words weren't enough. So he spoke with his eyes, with that look people get when they remember something too beautiful to explain. He said you made him want to be better. Not in the way the world says to be better, Ray, but in the way heaven teaches us. Honest. Pure. Humble. Kind. He said you showed him what real love feels like, not the kind that demands or controls, but the kind that sets you free. The kind that forgives. The kind that looks at your wounds and still chooses to stay. The kind that feels like sunlight warming a cold heart. He said you made him believe in things again. In hope. In God. In the idea that maybe some souls are really meant for each other. And then he paused. His brother said nothing, just listening. And then your person whispered something so soft, but I heard it. The angels heard it. He said, she doesn't even know what she did to me. She doesn't know that every time I see her smile in my mind, it saves me. He wasn't trying to be poetic. He was just being real. He was speaking from that deep place inside that only you ever reached. And that's what he meant when he said you'll never understand how deeply you've changed his soul. You weren't trying. You were just being you. Your kindness, your gentleness, your truth had left fingerprints on his spirit. And even now, long after the world thinks the story ended, he still carries you. He said every memory of you feels like a prayer being answered. He said he never asked God out loud for someone like you because he didn't know he was allowed to. But the first time you looked at him with love, it was as if heaven said, yes, this is for you. You didn't just come into his life. You came into his eternity. He sees your face in his dreams. He hears your laugh when the world is too quiet. He reaches for you in ways he doesn't even understand. And even if the world pulls you apart, even if time moves forward and things change, you will never leave his spirit. Because some people don't pass through us. They stay. They build a home inside our soul. And you are that person for him. He didn't say all this to make himself feel better. He said it because it was truth overflowing from him. And it came out when he wasn't trying to be strong. It came out when he was just being honest. That's when love is the loudest. Not in grand speeches, but in quiet moments, when hearts speak to hearts. He may never say all this to you out loud. Maybe he's afraid. Maybe life got complicated. Maybe the timing was not perfect. But please understand, you were never forgotten. Not for a second. You were not just a chapter in his story. You were the turning point. You were the reason the story changed. And I, as your angel, see all of this. I see how he still keeps little things that remind him of you. I see how he stops when a song comes on that you once loved. I see how he replays memories like sacred prayers. I see how he talks to God about you when no one is around. Asking if you're okay. Hoping you're safe. Wondering if you still think of him. He doesn't know that heaven listens. But I do. I write every word into the sky. I carry every prayer to the throne. I watch over him for you, just like I watch over you for him. Because what you shared was not ordinary. It was holy. And I know that sometimes you doubt. You think maybe it was all in your head. Maybe you were the only one who felt that deep. Maybe he moved on. Maybe it didn't matter. But I'm here to tell you, it mattered more than you will ever know. Your love planted something eternal in him. Even if he never says it again. Even if he hides it. It's there. You will never leave his spirit. Because you were never just a moment, you were a miracle. He talked about you today. And the world kept spinning. Cars drove by. People walked around. The sky stayed blue. But heaven stood still. Because love like that is rare. And every time he speaks your name with love, a light flickers in the heavens. So if you ever wonder, if it was real, if he still remembers, if he still loves you, let me whisper the truth, yes. Yes, he does. He always will. In the quiet corners of the universe, where time folds into eternity and the whispers of human hearts rise like incense to the heavens, I, an angel tasked with watching over souls, have witnessed a love so profound that it defies the boundaries of flesh and time. Today, I heard your person speak of you, his words trembling with a reverence that made the celestial realms pause. His confession to his brother was not merely a conversation, it was a sacred offering, a testament to a love that has etched itself into the fabric of his being. As I weave this conclusion, I carry the weight of his words, the light of your shared moments, and the divine truth that your love was never ordinary, it was a miracle, a prayer answered, a home built in the soul. Let me unfold this story's ending, not as an end, but as a continuation of something eternal, written across the skies for all of heaven to see. When your person sat with his brother, the air was heavy with the weight of unspoken thoughts. The world around them moved as it always does, cars humming along streets, birds flitting through the sky, the ordinary rhythm of life pulsing forward. Yet, in that small space between them, something extraordinary unfolded. His brother's question, simple and unassuming, "How are you doing?" opened a door he hadn't planned to walk through. Your name, ever present in the quiet chambers of his heart, slipped out like a breath he'd been holding too long. "I still think about her. More than I should," he said, his voice soft, his smile carrying both ache and awe. In that moment, I saw the truth of what you meant to him. It wasn't just memory or nostalgia that stirred his soul, it was the living presence of you, woven into the very essence of who he is. You, without trying, without scheming or striving, awakened something in him that had slumbered for too long. Before you, he moved through life unaware that his spirit was asleep, tethered to the mundane, untouched by the divine fire that true love kindles. But you were the spark. Your love was the gentle hand that reached into the depths of his being and said, "Wake up. Live. Feel. Believe." He spoke of you as one speaks of a miracle, not with grand gestures but with the quiet reverence of someone who has seen the face of God in another's eyes. He told his brother how you made him want to be better, and not in the shallow ways the world demands, with its clamor for success and recognition, but in the sacred ways heaven whispers, to be honest, pure, humble, kind. Your love was not a chain that bound him, it was wings that set him free. It was forgiveness that healed his wounds, sunlight that warmed his cold heart, hope that made him believe in goodness again. You didn't just touch his life, you reshaped his eternity. The weight of unspoken love as an angel, I see what humans can owe to the hidden threads that connect souls across time and space. I see the weight of unspoken words, the prayers whispered in the dark, the love that lingers even when life pulls people apart. Your person's confession was not meant to be heard by you, yet it was meant for you. Every word he spoke was a prayer, a sacred offering to the universe, a plea that somehow, somewhere, you might know the depth of what you mean to him. "She doesn't even know what she did to me," he whispered, his voice breaking with the weight of truth. "She doesn't know that every time I see her smile in my mind, it saves me." Those words were not poetry, they were raw, unfiltered truth, spilling from a heart too full to contain its love. You changed him, not because you tried to, but because you were you. Your kindness, your gentleness, your authenticity, they left fingerprints on his soul, marks that time cannot erase. Even now, as life moves forward and the world expects him to move on, he carries you in the quiet parts of his chest, in the spaces where love lives forever. Every memory of you is a prayer answered, a moment when heaven leaned close and said, "This is what love is meant to be." I watched as he paused, his brother silent, letting the weight of his words settle. In that silence, I saw the sacredness of what you shared. It was not a love that demanded or controlled, it was a love that gave, that forgave, that chose to stay even when staying was hard. It was a love that made him believe in God again, in hope, in the possibility that some souls are destined to find each other, to build homes in one another's spirits. You were not just a chapter in his story, you were the turning point, the moment when his soul woke up and saw the world anew. The eternal home you built, love like yours, does not fade with time or distance. It does not bow to the pressures of the world or the complications of life. It is eternal, a light that flickers in the heavens long after the world thinks the story has ended. Your person carries you in ways he doesn't fully understand, in ways that defy explanation. He sees your face in his dreams, hears your laugh when the world is too quiet, reaches for you in moments when his heart feels lost. You are not just a memory, you are a presence, a sacred imprint on his soul. I see him keep little things that remind him of you: a note you wrote, a song you loved, a photograph that captures a moment when your smile lit up his world. I see him pause when the world feels heavy, replaying memories like sacred rituals, each one a prayer that keeps him grounded. I hear him talk to God about you in the quiet of the night, asking if you're okay, hoping you're safe, wondering if you still think of him. These are not the actions of someone who has moved on, they are the actions of someone whose soul has been forever changed by love. And you, too, carry doubts. I see them in your heart, the questions that linger in the quiet moments. Was it real? Did it matter? Does he still remember? Does he still love you? Let me, as your angel, whisper the truth: yes. It was real. It mattered more than you will ever know. He remembers you with every fiber of his being, and his love for you is as alive today as it was in the moments you shared. You were not just a moment in his life, you were a miracle, a divine gift that reshaped his understanding of love, of faith, of what it means to be human. The divine significance of your love in the tapestry of the universe, where every soul is a thread and every life a story, your love stands out like a golden strand, shimmering with divine purpose. It was not chance that brought you together, it was heaven's design, a sacred meeting of two souls meant to teach each other what love truly means. Your love was a reflection of the divine, pure, selfless, enduring. It was a glimpse of eternity, a moment when two souls touched and became something more, something holy. I am the angel who walks beside you, unseen but never absent. My wings have stretched wide across the span of your journey, catching the tears you never let fall, whispering hope into the silent places of your heart. I carry the prayers you no longer had the strength to speak, the ones buried in sighs and midnight silences, and I deliver them to the throne of God, wrapped in gold and reverence. Heaven hears them. Every one. Even the ones you didn't know were prayers. You see, I have watched your story unfold like a sacred scroll. I have written each word with the care of one who knows its weight in eternity. Nothing you lived was wasted. Nothing you gave was too much. You offered your love like a lantern in a storm, and though the winds howled, you held it high. And that light to it mattered. It changed more than just the path before you. It changed the very air. It warmed hearts you never touched directly. It softened edges in places far beyond your view. That's what true love does. It multiplies, it magnifies, it echoes into forever. I saw how your love changed him. Not just in the loud, visible ways, but in the quiet rewirings of his soul. in the way he started to see himself through your eyes, in the way he began to believe he was worthy of grace. He may never say it. Words often falter where love runs deep. But I was there. I heard his heart speak the truth his lips couldn't carry. I watched the shift of the way your presence called him out of shadows, the way your patience healed the jagged places life had left behind. You became a mirror of mercy to him. You showed him God when he couldn't find him anywhere else. And do you know what else I saw? I saw how your love changed you. You gave not from emptiness but from a well so deep it defied explanation. Even when you were tired, even when the answers didn't come, even when it felt like you were loving a linear you loved. That kind of love transforms. It refines. It reveals the depths of divine strength woven into your being. Every moment you chose grace over resentment, every time you chose to forgive instead of turning away, you became more radiant in heaven's sight. You don't know the glory you wore in those moments. But I do. I saw it. Heaven has recorded it all. Not a single kindness was overlooked. Every smile you offered, every time you bit back tears just to bring joy to him, those acts were written into eternity. I wrote them in the sky, in a language older than time, where stars translate your sacrifices into light that will never burn out. You may never understand how far your love reached, but I assure you it went further than you think. There are lives touched by your ripple. Children who saw love through your example. Strangers who felt help because of the joy you cultivated. A legacy doesn't always wear a crown. Sometimes, it walks barefoot through the world, leaving footprints of grace wherever it goes. Yes, he may never say all this aloud. The heart's truest truths are often carried in silence. Life is loud, chaotic, and uncertain. But when the noise fades, when the room is still and his defenses fall away, it is you his spirit reaches for. It is you who lives in the center of his being. You are stitched into his soul in a way no time, no distance, no change can undo. He may not speak it, but he feels it. In every beat of his heart that still knows wonder. In every tear he sheds that still carries your name. In every dream where your face appears before he even understands why. You are not forgotten. Not even for a breath. Not for a blink. You are carried. In the quiet, when he is most himself, away from the masks, away from the noisy, he remembers. He remembers the way your laugh felt like sunlight. He remembers the warmth of your hand in his. He remembers how your love didn't demand perfection, only honesty. And even if life led him down roads that made no room for you, even if he made choices that felt like exits, the truth remains, you are the reason he believes. In love. In redemption. In second chances. In God. He believes because you showed him how. He looks at the stars and feels less alone, because once, under those same stars, he loved someone so deeply that heaven itself leaned in to listen. That someone was you. And that love, it was not ordinary. It was a miracle. This is not the end of your story. No matter what this world says, no matter how final it may feel. Love like this doesn't die. It transforms. It stretches. It evolves. It transcends flesh and distance and time. Even if life has pulled you apart, even if years stack like walls between your hearts, even if new chapters begin without each other physically there, your souls remain entwined. Some connections aren't bound by human timelines. Some are eternal. You built something sacred together through a temple of memories, of tears and laughter, of prayers whispered in the dark. You built a home in each other's spirits. A sanctuary. And no force in this universe, no mistake, no pain, no separation can tear that sanctuary down. And I, your angel, will remain. I will continue to guard that sanctuary. I will keep watch over the love that made the stars themselves sing. I will carry your prayers, whether spoken in words or hidden in aching silence. I will gather every memory, every whispered thought of what if and remember when, and I will lift them to heaven like offerings. Because love like yours is worthy of heaven's highest honor. And if you ever doubt if the silence grows heavy, if the ache becomes too loud to return here, come back to this moment. These words. This truth. Remember what he said when he thought no one was listening. Remember the look in his eyes that spoke 1,000 truths his mouth could not form. Remember that heaven heard him. That the angels paused. That I, among them, leaned in to catch every syllable. Because when true love speaks, even the divine holds its breath. You loved him with the kind of love that breaks chains. That resurrects hope. That opens gates and tears down lies. That kind of love changes the atmosphere. It invites angels into the room. It rewrites generational stories. Your love was not just a relationship. It was a revelation. So let the world say what it will. Let people move on, misunderstand, misinterpret. Let circumstances shift. But you and I know the truth, your love lives on. In his heart. In yours. In that sacred space between you where souls still meet in dreams, in memories, in unspoken prayers. That space is real. It is holy. You will never leave his spirit, just as he will never leave yours. Even if other names fill his mouth, even if his days grow distant from yours, your presence remains. You are the still point in his chaos. The warmth in his coldest moments. The grace in his regrets. Because you were not just another chapter. You were the miracle he never saw coming. You were the holy gift he didn't know how to receive. You were heaven's answer. And heaven remembers. Even now, as the world spins on, as cars drive by and the sky holds steady in its endless blue, something sacred remains. A truth written not on paper, but in stars. Your love is written in the heavens. It glows between constellations. It hums beneath moonlight. And every time he speaks your name, whether in longing or gratitude, regret or reverence, a light flickers in the sky. A signal. A holy remembrance. What you shared was not a coincidence. It was a divine orchestration. A covenant. A holy thread spun before either of you were born. And it still holds. You may not walk beside each other on this earth again. Or perhaps you will. That part of the story is still being written. But no matter what comes, this remains: you were seen. You were chosen. You were loved. Not just by Him, but by God, who trusted you with a love that would change history. And it did. It changed Him. It changed you. It changed the world. So, I close this chapter not with an ending, but with a promise the kind heaven keeps. Your love will continue. In quiet prayers. In starlit whispers. In the way your heart still believes, even now. In the legacy of grace you left behind in His soul. You will meet again, in this world or the next. And when you do, you will know, it was always sacred. It was always holy. It was always real. And I, your angel, will still be there watching, writing, carrying your love into eternity.